Everyone has a label for themselves, and for millions of people, that label is introvert. But psychology says most of them have it completely wrong, and the reason why reveals something far more interesting about how the human mind actually works. In 2012, a book called Quiet by Susan Cain changed the cultural conversation almost overnight. Introversion stopped being a personality trait. It became an identity. Introvert recharging. Sorry, I can't. I'm an introvert. Merch, memes, entire online communities built around the label. But here's what almost no one mentions. Carl Jung, the man who created the concept, warned against this from the very beginning. His exact words, "There is no such thing as a pure extrovert or a pure introvert. Such a man would be in a lunatic asylum." Introversion isn't about being shy. It isn't about disliking people. And it has nothing to do with needing time to recharge. That's the popular version. Here's the psychological one. In the 1960s, psychologist Eysenck proposed that introversion and extroversion aren't about social preference. They're about cortical arousal. The introvert's brain operates at a higher baseline level of stimulation. Social environments push them over their threshold faster. It's not that introverts dislike people. It's that their nervous system hits saturation sooner. Extroverts, by contrast, have lower baseline arousal. They seek stimulation because their brain requires more input to function at the same level. This is a biological difference, not a social one. And this is where the misidentification begins. In Part 3, we reveal the group most people belong to, but almost no one identifies with, the ambiverts. Here's a number most people never hear, 37%. That's the share of the population that psychologists classify as ambiverts, people who fall genuinely in the middle of the spectrum, not leaning introvert, not leaning extrovert, both, depending on context. Psychologist Adam Grant at Wharton ran studies showing that ambiverts consistently outperform both introverts and extroverts in tasks requiring adaptability, because they can shift registers depending on what the situation demands. But almost no one calls themselves an ambivert, because it doesn't feel like a strong enough identity, and that's exactly the problem. The label explained something people were already feeling, and gave them a community around it. In Part 4, we'll see why the label feels so right. But identification isn't always accuracy. Next, we look at the emotional driver behind the label. Here's what psychology actually shows about why the introvert label caught on so fast. It wasn't because millions of people suddenly discovered their true personality type. It was because the label explained something people were already feeling and gave them a community around it. Social fatigue is real. Overstimulation is real. Preferring depth over breadth in relationships is real. But those experiences don't automatically make someone an introvert in the clinical sense. A significant portion of people who identify as introverts are actually experiencing something different: social anxiety, sensory processing sensitivity, or simply a hard preference for quieter environments. These aren't the same as introversion, but they feel identical from the inside. This is the part most psychology videos skip, because understanding why the label feels right matters just as much as knowing whether it is right. Next, we look at the worldview it creates. This is the part most psychology videos skip, because understanding why the label feels right matters just as much as knowing whether it is right. The introvert identity spread so fast because it gave people something valuable: permission. Permission to say no to social obligations without guilt. Permission to explain exhaustion without having to justify it. Permission to be different in a culture that still prizes the loudest person in the room. But here's what it quietly did over time. It turned a spectrum into a category. And once people placed themselves inside, it started shaping their behavior. Not because of their neurology, but because of their belief about their neurology. Psychologists call this a self-fulfilling identity loop. For some people, the introvert identity didn't reveal who they were. It decided who they became. Next, the critical line between introversion and social anxiety. The most important line that almost no one draws is this one. An introvert is energized by solitude. They can socialize. They simply prefer to do it selectively. The quiet is a preference, not a refuge. A person with social anxiety wants to connect but fears judgment in the process. The avoidance isn't a preference, it's a defense. From the outside, both look identical. From the inside, they often feel identical, but they require completely different responses. The introvert doesn't need to fix anything. The person with social anxiety might benefit from support, but calling it introversion quietly closes that door. This is why the label matters, not because introversion is wrong to identify with, but because misidentifying the cause of your experience prevents you from actually understanding it. Here's what the psychology actually says. Personality isn't binary, it isn't fixed, and it was never meant to be a community. It's a set of tendencies shaped by biology, experience, culture, and environment that shifts across a lifetime. Carl Jung understood this. Eysenck's research confirmed it. Every major personality study since has built on both. The question was never, are you an introvert or an extrovert? The real question is, why do you respond to the world the way you do? Because once you understand the why, not just the label, you gain something no personality quiz can give you. You stop explaining your behavior, and you start understanding it. Next, the final reflection on why we need labels in the first place. The introvert label gave millions of people a language for something they had always felt. That matters. Language shapes how we see ourselves. But language is only useful when it's accurate. And the most fascinating part of the psychology isn't whether you're an introvert. It's why you needed the answer in the first place. Next, why men choose alpha, beta, or sigma, the psychology behind the labels. Please like and subscribe.